So in the morning, we started by reflecting the lessons of the lives of Elizabeth and Zechariah, and then we went to St. Paul. So if you will try to analyze, the characters or the biblical characters that we talk about, they are elders, and they became elders. No, St. Paul is considered one of the pillar of the church, Peter and Paul. Okay, Elizabeth and Zechariah. That is why this afternoon I'd like us to reflect on the elder, becoming an elder. In Tagalog, Tanda. Tanda, yeah. So, what comes to your mind when you speak of Tanda? Is it a compliment when say, uy, matanda ka na? No? Is it a compliment or do we accept it as an insult to be called matanda? No? How does it, how do you react to that? Sometimes we don't tell our age simply because they don't want to discover kung gaano na tayo katanda, no? We remain and we want to remain young. Of course, our heart will always be young, and age is but a number. But biblically, to become an elder is something because it's not only because of age. It's not only a position, but it's something, a particular role that is given, no, by a society to people who have reached that age of wisdom and experience. That is why they will be prominent, not only prominent, but respected. Well, I said we have mixed emotions because when we say tanda, kulubot, pinaglipasan, laos, dapit hapon ng buhay, then malapit ang mamatay. Kaya we don't want to get old or we don't want to be called an elder. But positively, it is something because it means you are respected, you have gained wisdom, you are well seasoned, well experienced, you have achieved something in life, you are a veteran because of your good counsel, pinakikinggan, people listen to, sinusundan, no? A model. In the Bible, God appointed elders. In the book of Numbers, the Lord said to Moses, "Gather for me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people and officers over them, and bring them to the tent of meeting, and let them take their stand there with you. And I will come down and talk with you there. And I will take some of the Spirit that is on you and put it on them. And they shall bear the burden of the people with you, so that you may not bear it yourself alone." Yeah, God commissioned elders, and these elders will carry the burden of the people. Somebody who will lead. And they did it through the laying on of hands. Saan ba ako haharap? Doon. Sorry. Oh. Yeah, right. Yeah. In the New Testament, Jesus said, when you were younger, you used to dress yourself and go where you wanted. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. Malalim. No, when you were younger, you were on your own, adventurous. But when you get older, then someone will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. How does this verse speaks to me? But am I still on that position where I would go where I want to go? Or now, no, am I open to being called and being sent where I do not want to go, but where we should go? Speaking about becoming an elder, when we were ordained, then we become presbyteroi. And presbyteroi in Greek, it means becoming an elder. And therefore, I was ordained at the age of 28. And as young as 28, I became a presbyteroi. And therefore, I became elder. No wonder if I'm only 28, you call me father. And even now, some of you are older than I am. But, of course, honorific lang ba yun? But because you consider the laying on of hands, the appointment of God as something, and I became an elder among you. And therefore, becoming an elder, it's not just because of age, but also because of mission. Because you were sent. And when you were sent, you go to a place where you do not want to go. I recall, I was phoned by Cardinal Tagle, and he told me I was going to be 10 years as a priest. So on my 9th year, turning 10, he phoned and said, "Jo, are you ready to take on a parish?" Because after ordination, few months, I was sent to Rome to do further studies. So after studies, I went back and I'm assigned in the seminary. And so I was in the seminary for 9 years. 9 years. And on my 10th, I received that phone and I said, "Yes, Eminence, if you want me to become parish priest, I am willing to accept." "Okay, then you are now parish priest. So write a letter of acceptance. You're parish priest of Santissima Trinidad. Thank you, Eminence." "Okay, so send the letter right away." Well, saan yun? Saan yun? Saan yung parokyang yun? Saan yun? Pero I accepted, but I accepted wholeheartedly. I did not question where. I did not question the status. Is it what? Is it rich? Is it poor? What are the conditions of the parish? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they notorious? Are they lovable? No, I just simply said yes. And the secretary phoned and told me the details. "So, you accepted being pastor of Santissima Trinidad. It's in Malate, Estrada, corner Dian Street. Okay? The parish priest will be retiring and you will be the second parish priest." Okay. Okay, good, no? And when I reached the parish, yung pinakatatakutan ko, construction. Because I saw the parish and wow, it looks like a chapel inherited from Aglipayan Church. Okay, so it's a breakaway Aglipayan church before. The priest died and the mainstream Aglipay would not want to send priests because it's a breakaway, kaaway, kalaban. Okay, so the community invited Catholic priests to celebrate Mass in the parish until it was recognized as a chapel. And Cardinal Sin declared it a parish. Since the declaration, the parishioners who were belonging to the breakaway Aglipayan Church sued the Catholic Church for taking the property. Okay? So, it took a 2-decade legal case, and the whole the whole term of the first parish priest was devoted in defending the right of the Catholic Church to stay there, because they were able to learn that it was originally donated as a Catholic church. And the priest then became an Aglipay and turned the chapel into an Aglipay. So that's the story. So originally it's a Catholic chapel. Anyhow, because it's under litigation, so they cannot renovate the chapel. So it falls under my responsibility to do it. And that's my most hated part, to build a church. I don't know how. I don't know how. But that's the responsibility. Okay? I said, the Lord gives a mission and the Lord provides. Miracle happened. We were able to build a church. We were able to build a church. But under that time, I have to balance or discern what is the priority of the church. Is it to build the structure of the church or to first build the church as people of God? And that task is not an easy task. You need an elder to be able to do that. You need an elder to be able to discern. And at that point, I became an elder to them, and we decided we will stop with the construction problem. With the construction, how can we deal with construction when in fact you are all divided among yourselves? The parish is really divided. And they even classify themselves, we're the parish belonging to this and you're the parish belonging to that. Because my parish is divided into middle class and poor class. Okay? Laborers you get from the poor class, financiers from the middle class. So, yeah. And they consider themselves apart, set apart. Okay? So, that's the kind of parish I went through. And it's quite challenging, but, having that kind of position, you have to assert and become an elder among them, regardless of your age, regardless of education. Elderhood is not because of age. It's not because you have high degrees. It is not. Becoming an elder is more than that. Ministry is about growing old. Growing old. It is about becoming an elder. For that to happen, he would have to learn to allow someone else, namely, for God to lead him. Before the disciples would become an apostle, they were learners. And they allowed themselves to be led by God. Then only after he can begin to follow Jesus. The priests, which means elder, matanda. Matanda. But that being matanda, it's not only for us. As you heard in the words, in the readings that I read, God called elders to minister to. Now let us ponder on the meaning of becoming an elder. In Tagalog, tanda. Malalim. Tingnan nyo itong tatlong kahulugan ng tanda. The word tanda has three meanings. Maturing, remembering, tanda, signifying. Maturing, remembering, signifying. Let us go to the first. Tanda, being an elder, as maturing. For us Filipinos, we refer to matatanda as nakatatanda. Nakatatanda. And the process of maturing is referred to as pagtanda, to grow old. To grow old. But how is it to be matured? It isn't about age. You can be 50 years old and still not mature. You can be 60 years old and still thinks like a child. It's not about age. Maturity isn't about appearance. Some people may look spiritually mature, but they're not. But just because someone appears dignified, it doesn't mean they are holy. Magaling lang manamit. No? Maturity isn't about achievement. You can accomplish much, but without being mature in your faith, in your morality. Maturity isn't about academics. A seminary degree or a Bible college degree doesn't make you spiritually mature. You don't get to be mature by comparing yourself to anyone else. But you become mature when you compare yourself to the Word of God. The book of James is a beautiful manual, and it will teach us how are we to mature and to become elders of our community and of our church. Number one is, dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. What is being said here is that a mature person is positive under pressure. There will be more pressures, but one remains positive. How does one remains positive? Let me give you an example. I was in the States doing my summer apostolate. You know, when you're in Rome, every summer you have to go to the States because we take over parishes, because the clergy will take their vacation. It is a good opportunity for us to, sad to say, but to earn, because we need to finance our board and lodging and our daily allowance in Rome. Our bishop in Manila send us to Rome. And when you're in Rome, the Lord will provide for you. So on summertime, by force, we have to go to the States. So I went to the Archdiocese of Newark, and I took over a parish. And, you know, I was there for the first week, and the parish priest was giving me orientation. And, of course, it's been like, you know, at the back of the church, listening to my homily, listening to my accent, if my accent can be understood or what, or if I have some sense in my homilies. But after a week, he said, I can leave you, okay? I can leave you, you can stay here, and then, you know, do your thing, and be the parish priest for the moment. Well, it should only be 1 month, but he went 2 months. No, he went 2 months, and then, well, to cut the story short, one experience was, there's a funeral wake, and it's done in a chapel, I don't know where. Okay, so after one morning, I decided to go and see where the chapel is, so I won't be late. So I borrowed the car of the secretary, and while driving, I went to the chapel, and going back, I stopped at the stoplight. It's red. And then, by chance, I look at the rear mirror, and someone is not stopping. And so I braced myself for the impact. Pak! Binunggo ako sa likod. You know? Pilipino. Galit na galit ako. Una, it's not my car. Secondly, I am in a foreign country and I should not be experiencing such stress. Galit na galit, I went out of the car wanting to curse and I approached the car, and her windows rolled down, and I saw myself. I was wearing a clerical. Okay, and I was like, the words that came out were, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she was like, "Oh my, it's a priest. How can heavens forgive me?" I go, yeah, what happened? What happened? Well, I was out of control. I don't know. I was pressing the brake and it didn't stop. Okay, it's not your fault. I guess it's an accident. Okay, so you can come down and step on the side and breathe in, breathe out, relax. And she was so apologetic, considering that I am a priest. He said, "How can heavens forgive her?" Okay, but I am even surprised because I went to confront her. I went as a Filipino to shout and agrabyado ako eh. Okay, agrabyado ako eh. Kailangan, in the Philippines, sindakan ng labanan eh. Ang unang magtaas ng boses, siya yung may karapatan. So, I have that attitude, but I was even surprised when I said, "Are you okay?" But that made something. She said, she promised that, "Father, my insurance will take care of the damage." And don't worry, it will be fast. Okay, make sure it's not mine. It's the secretary's car. Okay? And, the secretary, kumita pa. She's the one talking to her and demanded things, demanded another car as her service. And it went well. But I received phone call coming from her. And she said, Father, I'm so happy. Sira ulo pala to, nakabunggulo ka. Why are you happy? Father, first and foremost, because you're a priest. Imagine, if it's not a priest, then what will happen to me? I could be taken advantage of, and they could demand things more, no? But since you're there and you're so composed, Father, where is your parish? I want to go there. And that started the friendship. But look, had I became angry, got mad at her, shouted her, cursed her, and discovered that I am a priest, and the investigation, of course, I'm dressed as a priest, how can I hide it? If I acted otherwise, then one soul would turn her back to the church and say, plastic, no? Hypocrites, preaching about mercy, preaching about forgiveness, and yet couldn't apply it. But by the grace of God, grace under pressure, I guess the Holy Spirit poured all the power in me because I needed that. So the good words came out. Are you okay? Are you okay? So a mature person would be someone who would not be instinct-driven, but that would be more discerning, would be more prudent, would be more nakatatanda, truly an elder. Even if your light tested, grace will still be there. Grace under pressure. A mature person is sensitive to people. Sensitive to people. As James would put it, it is good when you obey the royal law as found in the scriptures. Love your neighbor as yourself. Sensitivity dictates that when you love God, it is not like one dimension. But loving God entails sensitivity to others, that we have to open and also embrace each other. And that's how it should be. And that's what life should be. I told you the story in the conference about the mask. Did you remember? Someone fainted. Did I tell you that story? Right. A clear example. A beautiful mass was celebrated. Afterwards, somebody fainted and no one would want to be involved because they have plans. It's already lunch. And we have something, our thing, and that's not our thing. That's the problem. When we are not sensitive to the needs of others. Here it's quite different. No? You are in a gated community. You are in a what? Secured, and it's a different place. But go back to the Philippines, you can hear, you can even smell and feel the needs of your neighbor. If you don't do, if you are not sensitive, if you're numb, manhid ka. But you will feel their need. As a parish, I experienced that. I am blessed. I have a good cook. He prepares all the meals, and such a beautiful thing that we had in the Philippines when you're served with home-cooked meals each time. Each time. And here it's a luxury. Correct. It's a luxury to get a home-cooked meal every meal. But in the Philippines, we're pampered because each meal is well prepared and it's a hot dish, fresh. So I would give an instruction to my cook. You know how much we consume, okay? But don't just buy food for us. Okay? At least have an extra. Sayang naman, Father. Masasayang? No. Hindi sayang. No. What I intend is, You try to see, we have neighbors, they don't have food, they don't have meal. You know them, go to them. But I want you to go to them not after we eat. Consider them part, no, of us. Palaging may pasobra. Huwag kukulangin, palaging may pasobra. And that has been my mentality. You know, well, of course, it's a different thing here. You can just give food to anyone. You know, I mean, they get poisoned. You're responsible for that. Okay? You give food and you know, something happened to them, you're responsible for that. That's why precautionary measures will tell you, huwag ka na magbigay kung ganyan. Kasi baka ikaw pasisihin in the end. Naiintindihan ko yun. But in the Philippines, it's a different thing. It's an act of love. It's bayanihan. It's your love for your neighbor. You don't only cook for yourself, but you are mindful. That's why I grew up with a tradition that if we have something, we give it to the neighbor. And then they in turn give us something. It's an exchange of charity. Something beautiful. But what am I saying is sensitivity. When you are broadening the circle of your concern outside your family circle, and when you have that in mind, you are maturing. If you're still closed and you're only concerned, my 2 children and us, kayo lang, and our dog, kayo lang, you have not yet matured. You have not yet matured. But when you're already mindful of others, kamusta na sila? Ano na kayang kinakain nila? Kamusta na sila? No? Alam ko may problema yan eh. Kamusta na kaya sila? Namatay yung tatay niyan eh. Okay? So, the person na namatayan, hindi niya kailangan humingi ng abuloy. Sensitivity dictates we ought to help. We ought to help because someone is in need. And when we have that, we have matured. As I told you, even tithes is a sign of maturity because an immature person will not give tithes, or even in giving tithes will complain and will ask so much question. Yes. A person who has reached maturity is mindful of his duty and obligation towards the church. And being a missionary, we have that in mind. I know I cannot go on a mission, but I know I am called to become a missionary. And becoming a missionary, it's not just me going to that mission. It's me supporting a mission. Me becoming the financer of that mission. And you are involved. You pray for that mission and you help missionaries. And if you can do that on your own, you become really the missionary. And then that's something that's becoming mature. And that's becoming an elder. Right? When you drop your collection in the mass. I don't know the system here. In the States, they already premeditated how much they will give because they pledge to give, say, $20 a month. And the check is there. Or it's auto-credit, auto-debit. It's there, the mindfulness. But you see, in the Philippines, it's a different thing. It's whatever is in the pocket. And how much is in the pocket, binabawasan pa. Not mindful. It's not even 50 pesos. It's not even 20 pesos. Whatever is there, meaning no mindfulness. Did not consider it as my way of going to a mission, becoming a missionary. I need to support the needs of my church. And that even that tithing, that percent of how much you earn, you give it to that, that's something that is a mature thing. Because you are mindful of mission. And I have to be part of that. And if I cannot go myself, then I will support the mission. If I have this capacity and I will give. That's something. But how do you measure generosity? That's a different thing. That's a different thing. When asked, Bishop Sok Villegas, how do you define generosity? And he said, it's not in how much you give, but in how much you are keeping for yourself. And if you discover that you are keeping more than what you give, then you are not yet generous. You gave out of surplus, and that's not generosity. Generosity is when it hurts. When it hurts, not out of surplus, but out of the abundance of the heart. Abundance of the heart. Because if you ask Jesus, it is not quantified, but the quality of the heart. Because an elderly, a widow went and only dropped 2 cents, which is considered nothing. But for Jesus, she gave the best. She gave all. So it's not how much, but what's the heart, the quality of the heart that gives. And that defines generosity. That defines becoming an elder. Maturing. A person has mastered his mouth. And you read it silently, mouth. Okay? The tendency is to nag, the tendency is magbunganga, the tendency, They said when you're unsure, you want to experience how your words can hurt others, bite your tongue. If it hurts, that's how hurtful your words can be. So the next time you have that tendency, consider biting your tongue for you to realize the hurt that you can inflict the other. A mature person is someone who has mastered his mouth. Tandaan mo yan. Titigan mo yung asawa mo. No? In the family, my parents, they were so complementary. My dad is so vocal, and my mom is so soft-spoken and, matiisin. Ang daddy, ang ingay. Ang daldal talaga. Lahat meron siyang comment. Okay? But my mom, it's like cooking, preparing dish, my dad would always say something, alat, lubsak, sayang yung karne, sayang yung pagkain. There will always be comment. No words of gratitude, nothing of that sort. No thank you. It's always a comment. And we're used to that. And we're like, Ma, angal-angal oh. But di ka nagsasawa. Why don't you stop cooking? No, he's always complaining. He's not, he doesn't appreciate your cooking. But look at him, she would always tell. Nakakatatlong plato na. Second serving, third serving. Doesn't stop eating, but always complaining. That's how my mom would take it. Ganyan lang yan. Maangal, pero hindi naman tumitigil kakakain. Kain pa rin naman ang kain. Kain na kayo. Matakot tayo pag di na nagsasalita yan. Because my mom already considered the nature of my father, accepted him for who he is. And therefore, those words were like affirming words. Okay, so he is well, okay. So he appreciates the food because he said something against the food. Pero yun, but those are, but my mom, she is an elder. Because she would not retaliate. She would not like, a fire with a fire, a word with a word. But she knows how to be temperamental. She knows how to hold her tongue. Okay? And she will be just quiet and will be the Martha in the home. I guess I got it from her. I'm quite a very patient person. Okay? Maybe that's why I am now, I take care of the staff, of the seminary. Because I have the patience to deal with them. Okay? And a lot of times when I know these words will hurt them, I'll just breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe. No? Because once it's there, you can never get it back. It's there and it's there. The mindfulness of what our mouth can do. but also the mindfulness of what it can do in the positive way. You know, like in Caritas Manila, that's where our TV station is, TV Maria, a janitress would always say, "Good morning, Father." And I would respond, "Good morning, Miss Beautiful," even if she's not, okay? This is good from the inside, you know? But those words were affirming, and some weeks I realized, she was really waiting for me. And she would want to greet me, and whenever I look at her, it's always a red lipstick's on. I go, "May party?" "No, Father. Every day I have to be beautiful." Because she's convinced she's beautiful, because every time I would say, "Good morning, Miss Beautiful." Oh yeah, and it becomes something, affirmation. It becomes a beautiful reminder. I have another story. You know, in the orphanage, Boys Town, somebody was sent there, a boy, because, well, her mother, single mom, went abroad, and he stayed with the lola. And the lola each time would tell her, "You're the reason why your mother is suffering. Ikaw yung salot. Ikaw yung nagsira ng buhay ng anak ko. You destroyed the life of my daughter. And now look, she needs to go abroad to be able to feed you. Okay? She could not get a good husband because you're there." Those words. Yung bata, nainis. Isang kain. Nilagyan na. Simple lang naman. Watusi. And the lola ate the watusi, died. And he was brought to the orphanage, Boys Town, because he was too young. And, you know, the police were, "Sisters, take good care of this boy. Medyo demonito." No. But the sisters went, No, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. And each time he was told he's a good boy. And he grew up with words of affirmation. Now, he's the benefactor of that orphanage because he became a good one. Words can make or break. You be careful with your mouth. We're so easy to see mistakes. We're so easy to see the negative. We're so easy to see what is not finished, what is ugly, what is bad. But sad to say, we're so tipid in giving affirmation, in recognizing the little things that they do. But we're so easy to say bad, to see bad. If you want to see virtue, you'll see virtue. But if you want to see vice, you'll see vice. That's the problem. When we are so determined to choose to see the bad side, then definitely that's what you will see. And our words can demean. So now you are asking, why are there many young people considering suicide? Why are there many depressed? Why are there many? And try to recall the last words you said. Is it giving hope or killing hope? Is it affirming or demeaning? Is it giving life or questioning his or her life? So try to reconsider and choose to be the good influencer. Choose to be the giver of hope so that they would want to come home and they would want to be with you because in you they find hope, life, joy. Maybe we need to be more expressive. Maybe we need to be more affirming. Maybe we need to see and appreciate where they are, who they are. Because we've been nagging. Even if you want to go to invite them to church, then let it be a beautiful opportunity. I know you want them to be in the good side. Going to church is such a beautiful duty of a good Christian. But do so in ways that they would appreciate and feel loved, not just obligated or they fear you. Yes, because you can make them obey out of fear. But in their heart, they're looking forward until they became 18. I'll be able to get out of this hell. So, we try to reconsider the words that are coming out of our mouth and try to be an elder to them. And becoming an elder, then we have to be prudent too. Kahit sabihin mo, ako ang tatay, ako ang nanay, karapatan ko to. Yun nga nasa iba kang konteksto Sa Pilipinas, okay yan. Pero iba dito. Masyadong enforce ang kanilang rights, ang kanilang karapatan. At wag mo rin palagi yung lagi mong sinasabi, kami nga nun iba kayo nun. Iba kayo nun. Iba ngayon. And you have to understand them because it's a different setup. We were trained to endure. We mastered how it is to sacrifice. Yes, we have been tested by time. But our children, your children, it's a different world. Hindi man lang naka-public transportation yung mga batang yan. Hutid sundo ninyo Right? That's how overprotective we are. Okay? I recall I was like, my kuya was grade 3, I am kinder, and we're already taking 2 jeepneys alone. How reckless my father. Imagine 2 kids taking the jeep, not even 1 ride, 2 rides, going to Quiapo. And going home, I find myself grade 2 going home alone. Reckless. And coming home alone in the house. But it's different. Because we became smart. Street smart. Independent. But it's a different world now. So please stop comparing. Because it would be endless comparison. And they will hate it whenever you compare. No? What we went through in a third world country is different in a first world country. And you try to reconsider that. It's a different setup. But your presence would be highly appreciated. But no ordinary presence. Affirming and joyful presence. That when they think they're coming home, they're coming to a safe place. They're coming to a happy place. And it's not like, I'm going home again. How I wish. Let your place be a happy place. Yeah. So next is, a mature person is a peacemaker and not a troublemaker. The book of James says, what causes fights and quarrels among you, don't they come from your desires that battle within you? Yeah, because the problem with us is that we want to be relevant. And becoming relevant, you insist. Becoming relevant, and you prove. Becoming relevant, you appear to be more what? More educated, more fluent, more capable, more responsible. And that's the problem. And in doing so, we create division. But division is not from God. Of course, Jesus said, do you think that I came here to unite, but I came here to divide? What Jesus meant is to divide the good from the bad. And that there should not be a mix or a compromise, but the good and the good and the bad. But not dividing so many hearts and homes. It's not like that. So are you doing the will of God? And the fruit, if you are doing the will of God, it's never division. But there is unity, for God is unity, Trinity. Yes, so try to work it out. So there is trouble, there is something, then you have to find a peaceful way dialogue, reach out. You don't close yourself, but be more a follower of Jesus. A mature person is patient and prayerful. Yes, patient and prayerful. And we talk about that in the first talk, perseverance in prayer. But what kind of prayer? A mature person doesn't only pray for himself or for his intentions, but that a mature person is also mindful of the church's intention, the community, mindful of building bridges, and committed in prayer. And consider that I am more close to God whenever I pray. And prayer is not something that is, it is not a task. It is my connection, my relationship with God. So we be patient with each other until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and spring rains. You too, be patient and stand firm because the Lord's coming is near. You be patient with your children. Okay? Do not lose hope. I guess you're disappointed because now you can see them. When they were kids, it's easy to bring them along. But when they go adolescent, teenager, they try to in a way not rebel, but try to assert themselves. So they will tell you, Mom, can I not go? Mom, can I not go? Yeah, why? You just imagine bringing your teenager here. This is a perfect example of enduring in affliction. Yeah, because it's the world of elders. But Brother Frank is right. He has to be in his or her world. And I guess that's what we need to develop. We need to pay more attention with regards to our singles, our kids. And we're not just mindful of the seniors' needs. Because what do? You do households. No, we are patient and persevering in our own responsibility. But are we that creative in developing programs for them where they can find friends and people of their age enjoying and wanting to be a good Christian? So, creativity. I guess what we lack now is what we call the passion. Because this talk is applicable for your age. But I can be doing talks with boys and girls. It has to be creative. It has to be different. What works with us may not work with them. And that is why we have to, your elders should develop a way that caters to their needs, to their situations. It's sensitivity and creativity. And as I said, whatever you plant, it's not gone for waste. It will be there. And the Lord will make it productive. The call of, wag na tong si Jeremiah, we cannot be immature people who anxiously try to impress and please this world. If your act is, I'll create a name, I'll be impressive, I'll be what? You want to give your best, but in doing so, a different intention. I've been with workers, and one worker is skilled, and he doesn't want to share the talent because he always want, pag ito nasira, ako lang nakakaalam yan. To be relevant. And sometimes we can be like that in a community. We want to be relevant, but that's not the way of a missionary heart. It's Jesus will increase, I will decrease. Our growth in the ministry will be measured according to the depth of our reliance on God. On God. Yeah. Yeah. So the call is to mature and to mature in the Lord. Now the second would be the second meaning of tanda is remembering. Remembering. Tanda. Tanda mo? Do you recall? Can you recall? Tanda. To recall. To remember. For us Filipinos, we refer to the act of remembrance as pagtanda. Pagtanda. And we are all called to become agents of remembering. We are bearers of memory. But what kind of memory? Let me give you an example. In the Transfiguration, Jesus brought with him Peter, James, and John for a particular purpose. And what would be the purpose? You will discover, because Jesus wants the disciples to see what will happen. Because what will happen there, he will be transfigured. He will be seen talking with Moses and Elijah. And they have to see that because it will allow them to cross Good Friday. Because it's something extraordinary. Because it's something divine. Because it's revealing who Jesus is. That if he said he will rise from the dead, you go back to this experience because this is something different beyond human to remember what happened. That's why when Peter said, let me build 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. And some people would say, is it because Peter doesn't want to go down, escaping Good Friday? Is he afraid? That's why he said, I'll build 3 tents, let's remain here. That could be an explanation, but another explanation, Peter could not contain the memory, the beautiful experience. That is why explicitly he said, allow me to build 3 tents. And those 3 tents signifying containers of memories. One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. Because this is so beautiful. I guess when Jesus heard that, he did not get the impression that Peter is coward. But that Jesus got it, and he said, that's why I took you here, because I want you to remember this. To become bearers of memories. But what kind of memories qualify what you contain in your vessel? Because if I ask, what is there in your heart? What memories are you keeping in your heart? Father, hirap na nga ako eh. No? Hindi ka mahirap. Milyonaryo ka. Ekta-ektare ng samang loob ang ang tinatago mo eh. Wow, yeah. Yeah. What are we keeping in our heart? Good or bad memories? But Jesus is so clear. That's why whenever we confess the words absolved, it means erased, cleared, gone. And what remains? Good memories. So what God keeps? Good memories of us. Here. That is why it is a challenge for us, because each time you quarrel, what konting sundot, anong bumabalik? Yung nangyari nung 1981. Yung nangyari nung 19 kopong-kopong, and they could not forgive because it's so clear. The hurt is painful because you keep it. You hurdle it. It's there. And tinatago-tago mo. But that's bad. Because we should be like God. So when you consider trying to break from that relationship, then you will weigh the good and the bad. And you will realize the good outweighs the bad. And when you do so, panghihinayangan mo. Kasi binalikan mo yung magandang alaala. And the Lord is like that when He deals with us. He does not look at your one fault, look at your two fault, and you're dead. Never. He would consider the good things, the many things. And when weighing, the words were still, I love you. You are loved. You are cared for. You're special to me. And those, the containers, the bearers of good memories. That is why here we are called to be bearers of good memories. Here, you implement recycling. You're very disciplined in recycling your garbage. Do so with your own life too. Ang napapakinabangang maganda, gamitin. Ang basura, itapon. No? Ang mabuti, gamitin. Ang masama, itapon. Principle of recycling. And we have to put that in heart. That is why Jesus commanded, do this in memory of me. In memory of me. And so you will do this. You will forgive. But how will you forgive? Remember me. Remember how I forgave you. And it will give you the strength to forgive. You want to share, but you don't want, remember me. Remember the times that I provided for you. Trust, I will provide. Share in memory of me. We do everything in the name of the Lord. We do everything in and through and with the Lord. Remember me. Do this in memory of me. Yeah. Because on our own, we cannot. Because our tendency is, I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. I'll give you if you give me. No? If I get involved there, what will I get there? It has to be something. I have to get something from that. Okay? But when we look at the Lord and we say, you give and yet it's unconditional. You are here and yet you're just here because you love. And that's how we are asked to do. No? Also, to be like Him. We are the bearers of good memories. Okay? The third is Tanda is signifying. To be an elder is to become a sign. To signify, tanda, signages, pananda. Okay? We refer to signages as pananda and markers as palatandaan. Signs are objects that are used to refer or point to another reality. They are not yet the reality they point to, but they serve well to lead and guide a person to that other reality. They reveal a different reality aside from themselves. And when they serve their purpose as a sign, the sign may sometimes be forgotten because the reality it is revealing has already been found. And that is the question. Are you willing to be a tanda, pananda, a sign, a marker, a signage? And such a beautiful challenge, because when you consider that you are but a sign, then you will not draw them to you, but you draw them to God. Just like Mary. Mary would always be seen with her hands pointing to her child because she is not drawing us to herself, but carrying us to Jesus, bringing us to Jesus, a bridge. Pananda. And when they discover the reality that we're pointing to, the heart of a missionary, it's okay for me to disappear. It's okay for me to be put on the side because I am irrelevant. That's the heart of the missionary. When you're willing to become relevant because the sign you are pointing to is greater than you. Jesus, God. I have that experience. I was assigned as a new priest in Quiapo. And you know, in Quiapo, every hour there is a mass. Mass begins 4 a.m. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It will end at 12. Okay? And then break because we have to clean the church. And then it will open at 2. At 3, there's Mass. 4, 5, 6, 7, last Mass. 13 Masses a day. Every day. Jump pack. Okay? Confession, it's 8 hours a day. So if you're assigned in Quiapo as a regular priest, you have to celebrate minimum of 2 Masses a day and 4 hours of confession a day. 2 in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. It's not an easy task. Okay, so I was in Quiapo as a new priest. And after the Mass, the young and old will come to you for blessing, for mano. And when an elderly woman, a lola, came to me, I grabbed her hand instead and did the mano sign. And she looked at me and said, "Ang yabang mo, Father." What did I do wrong? Ang yabang mo. Why? No, I am the one seeking for blessing. I know you cannot give me anything because it's not your blessing. You're a priest, representative of God. I know you're young, I'm old. I did not come to you because of age. I come to you because you were ordained by God. And I'm not asking blessing from you. You're just a bridge, an instrument of the blessing. Ang dami naman sinabi ni nanay, ito na nga, ayan na nga. But it was a wake-up call. Because, I have a good intention. I want to respect her. I want to honor her. But she's doing that because she wants to receive the blessing from God. And she's very clear, it's not coming from you. It's not coming, kaya huwag ka masyadong magpapogi, huwag ka masyadong malaki ulo. Yabang mo. Totoo, pagmamayabang. And she's the one who told me, face blank, mayabang ka. At an early stage, I realized that, and so it has become like my wake-up point. Huwag ka masyadong mayabang, hindi ikaw yan. Even the power of blessing, it doesn't come from you. You're always saying, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. It won't come from you. You can't do anything. You can't work a miracle. You are only uttering the name of God. And what has been done, it's because of God, not because of you. And this is what it is to be irrelevant. But our relevance is when we point to that greater reality beyond ourselves. Yeah. And that's our mission. You as a parent, your mission is to point them to God, to bring them to God. And when they come to know God, you did your part. You did your part. Yeah. And also a call because, you don't raise them as an investment. You raise them because you love them. You love them and you give the best for them. And I do believe that love begets love. But wag ka masyadong vocal. I send you in a good school. I provided for you. No, when I get old, you take care of me. I will live in your house when I get old. You have to take care of me. I'm taking care of you. Yeah. Investment. Don't do that. The problem is you're so insecure that in the end, no one will take you. Insecurity. But love begets love. If you give love, that love will bear fruit. And you need not impose. You need not beg. It will be given to you. You don't be insecure. Gusto mo laging pamumuka, mahal to, binigay ko to, yan to, tandaan mo yan. Nakalista yan. Maniningil ako pagtanda ko. No. Not an investment. But always with pure motivation. And when you have that, you have reached a certain level of maturity. Because you're no longer insecure. You are not insecure. Love begets love. Love begets love. And that's what you need to do. Just continue on loving. You don't be insecure. What will happen to me later on? Baka dalhin niyo ako sa senior home, ha? Ayoko nun. Diba? We're afraid of that. Yes. Well, I've seen senior homes in the States. I was like, wow, terrible. But of course, it's a different, perspective. One elderly asked me, he made an appointment with me, and I said, oh, sure. And we talk about, what's the topic? He's preparing for his funeral. And I was like, what, are you terminally ill? Yes, Father, I am terminally ill, and I know that I will die soon. That's why I'm here. Let's talk about my funeral. Okay, are you not afraid of that? No, Father, I'm practical. I know it will come. Okay, so here are the readings that I want you to read. What if I'm not here? Then you have to write it down. He said, prepare the funeral, the liturgy, his favorite songs. And afterwards, he made a special request. If you're still here, Father, then take me to the cemetery. Bury me. Of course, I said. I told him, I know your family will also be there. And he said, no, they won't be there. I know they will attend the service, but they will not go as far as going to the cemetery and bury me. So please, take me, bury me. Said, no. Sabi ko, do not presume. I know they will be there. Okay. And his time came. He died when I was there. Did the readings. And I was like, at the end of the Mass, when we brought him out, it's true. No one went to the cemetery. No one. They immediately went to the reception, the repast. Okay, and no one. No, and so I'm obliged to go to the cemetery. Okay, it's my first time to ride the hearse. So we went to the cemetery, and then here comes the memorial, the attendance. Father, make it quick, make it quick. I won't make it quick. Awang-awa ako eh. Umiiyak-iyak pa ako eh. Alam mo kung Pilipino ka, hindi ganito eh. May sasama pa sa lamay mo eh. May sasama pa dyan sa hukay mo eh. But he was so alone. And I said the prayers. And yes, he was buried. Yeah, sad reality. And I said, this will never happen to a Filipino. He will never be alone, no matter what. You're blessed. You don't be insecure that you will be alone. You're a Filipino. Many people love you and will continue to love you. Your children, just continue to love and be a good model. They will remember every good deeds, every good things that you are doing for them. They will never be forgetful, and we continue to pray to God, Lord, make them good. And always point them to God. And as for your community too, do not long to be in a position. No, it doesn't matter. It is a call to service. And when you are called, when you are being asked to do something, you don't make a name for yourself. You'll be willing to be irrelevant. But what matters is that you're able to point them to God, to point them to Jesus. That's what matters. Our aim is to show Jesus, to lead people to Jesus, and that's it. Only Jesus, always Jesus. And to allow ourselves to be unseen, unnoticed, or even unloved by the people. If they love us, praise the Lord. But if they don't love us, still praise the Lord. Okay? All that matters is that Jesus is found and loved. And that's what matters most. We are but a humble sign to signify the Lord. And that is how it is to become an elder. When we're willing to become mature, when we're willing to become bearers of memories, and we're willing to become a sign. And remember, when we already point to that greater reality, it's okay to be unnoticed, to be irrelevant. Because the greater, the highest good has been achieved. We have point them to the Lord. And this should be our community. We should be a sign, not pointing to us, but always pointing to Jesus.